At the beginning of the drama, the story opens with a lively party filled with well-dressed guests, music, and quiet gossip. The atmosphere changes the moment the main male lead lion enters the hall. As soon as he walks inside, many of the women present immediately start whispering among themselves. Some admire his appearance while others comment on his reputation. It quickly becomes clear that Lion works as the personal assistant of a powerful businesswoman named Miss MJI. Rumor has it that several well-known companies had tried to recruit him, offering him better salaries and positions, but he turned down every offer and chose to remain by Miss MJI's side. Soon after, the scene shifts to the company office. When Miss MJI arrives at work, Lion is already standing near the entrance of her office to greet her, just as he does every day. She playfully asks him how she looks today. Without hesitation, he answers politely that she looks beautiful, just like always. His response seems routine, yet it still pleases her. The two of them then enter the elevator together to go up to their office floor. Several other employees are also inside the elevator, including a man named Manager Jang. While everyone is quietly standing there, Manager Jang secretly takes out his phone and snaps an inappropriate photo of a female coworker's skirt. Unfortunately for him, Miss MJI notices his disgusting behavior. When the elevator doors open and everyone begins to step out, she suddenly kicks him hard and smashes his phone under the heel of her shoe. She calmly tells him that she is late for an important meeting and walks away without another word. After she leaves, Lion approaches the embarrassed manager and calmly tells him not to panic. He assures him that the data on the phone could probably still be recovered. However, the moment Manager Jang walks away, Lion quietly calls someone and requests the CCTV footage from the elevator. It becomes obvious that he intends to expose the manager's behavior properly. Back at work, Lion continues performing his duties with incredible efficiency. He handles every task perfectly and on time, almost like a machine. His focus and discipline impress everyone in the office. During the day, he receives a message from his girlfriend saying that her flight will arrive that night. Lion replies that he will definitely come to the airport to pick her up. Later, he brings coffee to Miss MJI and enters a meeting room where an important presentation is about to begin. Miss MJI asks Lion to handle the presentation. While he speaks confidently in front of everyone, she briefly remembers the day when he first came to apply for the job. At that time, he had made an unusual request before accepting the position. He wanted 1 full year of salary paid in advance. Although the condition was strange, Miss MJI agreed to it. During that conversation, he also complimented her beauty, which secretly made her very happy. Back in the present meeting, Lion finishes the presentation flawlessly and everyone praises his work. After the meeting ends, Miss MJI and Lion attend another social event together where they dance and interact with business partners. During the evening, Lion unexpectedly tells her that he might soon leave the job. His words shock her. Later, while they are on their way home, Miss MJI asks him why he wants to resign. Lion explains that his girlfriend is returning and that they plan to get married soon. Hearing this, Miss MJI falls silent. That night, Lion goes to the airport to receive his girlfriend. Miss MJI, curious about the woman who has captured his heart, secretly goes to the airport as well. However, the situation unfolds in an unexpected way. A car arrives and Lion's girlfriend steps out. Instead of greeting him warmly, she bluntly tells him that they should break up. Her reason is simple and cruel. She says that he is only an assistant and cannot provide the luxurious life she wants. After saying this, she leaves him standing there alone. Lion is deeply hurt by her words. Meanwhile, Miss MJI secretly feels relieved because his breakup means he might not resign from the company after all. Later that night, Lion sits alone at home, feeling depressed. A memory from the past appears in his mind. In that memory, he had once told his father that he planned to marry his girlfriend. His father had strongly opposed the idea after investigating the woman's background. He warned that she was not trustworthy and refused to accept her as a daughter-in-law. Lion angrily left the house at that time. His father told his mother that the girl would leave Lion the moment she realized he had no money. Sadly, those words eventually proved to be true. Feeling defeated, Lion calls his friend and asks him to come pick him up. His friend suggests going home, but Lion refuses. He says he will not return home until Miss MJI finds a new assistant to replace him. The next day at the office, Miss MJI is in a very good mood because she assumes Lion will stay after his breakup. But the moment he arrives, he hands her a formal resignation letter. She is shocked and confused. She had expected the opposite. Trying to change his mind, she praises his work and tells him the company is ready to double his salary. She promises him support and appreciation if he continues working. But Lion has already made his decision, and once he decides something, he rarely changes his mind. Miss MJI then takes him to interview several candidates for the assistant position. However, she secretly has no intention of hearing anyone. She finds excuses to reject every candidate. While returning from one interview, her high heels slip and she nearly falls. Lion quickly catches her and prevents her from getting seriously hurt, though her ankle is still slightly injured. He gently suggests that she should visit a hospital, but she ignores the idea and continues walking despite the pain. Seeing her struggle, Lion supports her arm and helps her walk. He calmly tells her that whether she likes it or not, he will leave the job after 1 month. Near the elevator, they encounter a delivery girl named Yuna who is holding several packages. Miss MJI suddenly points at her and declares that Yuna will be her new assistant. Lion will train her during the remaining month. Yuna is completely shocked because she never intended to work there. Later, Miss MJI invites Lion to a dinner at her family home. That evening, he joins her parents for dinner. Her father talks warmly about how much he loves his daughter but worries because she refuses to get married even though she is getting older. Half-jokingly, he asks Lion if he knows a suitable man for her. Meanwhile, on the balcony, Miss MJI's mother also talks to her about marriage. She indirectly suggests that Lion himself could be a good partner. Miss MJI laughs and tries to brush the idea aside, pretending it is only a joke. After leaving the house, she suddenly asks Lion about his own plans for marriage. He replies that he has no such plans anymore. Hearing this secretly makes her happy. Then she asks again why he still wants to resign if he is not getting married. Lion says he wants to start a completely new chapter in life. Unexpectedly, Miss MJI blurts out a shocking question. She asks him if he would marry her. Later, she tells her friend about the incident. Her friend laughs and says that she skipped too many steps. Instead of gradually developing a relationship, she jumped straight to a marriage proposal. No wonder Lion rejected her politely. That night, after drinking too much alcohol, Miss MJI calls Lion at around 2:30 in the morning and demands that he come pick her up. At first he refuses, but after thinking for a while, he changes his mind and goes to get her. He brings his friend along. When they arrive, they discover that Miss MJI's friend is actually Lion's friend's ex-wife, and the two immediately start arguing. Meanwhile, Lion quietly takes the drunk Miss MJI away and brings her home. In her drunken state, she keeps repeating that they should get married and that he should remain her assistant forever. He carefully puts her to bed, but she keeps holding his arm and talking endlessly. As a result, Lion spends the entire night awake. The next morning, his friend wakes up in embarrassment beside his ex-wife while Lion is already in the kitchen preparing food. When asked why he woke up so early, Lion calmly replies that he never slept at all. Later at the office, he begins teaching Yuna the responsibilities of being an assistant. The other employees invite him to join a team dinner that night, hoping to spend time with him before he leaves the company. However, when Miss MJI overhears the invitation, the atmosphere becomes awkward. That evening, the team goes to dinner together. Because Miss MJI is present, most employees feel uncomfortable and cannot relax. Some of them secretly complain in their group chat while pretending to enjoy the dinner. The story continues as the complicated relationship between Lion and Miss MJI slowly develops, filled with misunderstandings, hidden feelings, and unexpected moments that gradually change both of their lives. At the dinner gathering, Miss MJI notices that the employees seem very comfortable partying together. Looking around at everyone, she jokingly complains that they often organize gatherings but never invite her. The staff members quickly start making awkward excuses, trying to explain that it was not intentional. However, Miss MJI refuses to accept their explanations and playfully accuses them of bullying their own boss. Hearing this, the employees become nervous and immediately deny the accusation. To lighten the mood, they raise their glasses and continue drinking together. As the night goes on and everyone consumes more alcohol, the atmosphere becomes more relaxed and chaotic. Someone suggests playing a party game. The idea is that everyone must give compliments to the person sitting next to them. However, Miss MJI quickly rejects this idea. She says that if they play a compliment game, everyone will simply praise her because she is their boss, and that would make the game boring. Instead, she proposes a different kind of game, a criticism game where everyone must honestly criticize someone else. Once the rules are announced, the employees begin teasing and criticizing each other in a playful way. The room fills with laughter as coworkers point out each other's habits and funny flaws. Finally, when it is Miss MJI's turn, she says that she also has someone she wants to criticize. Everyone becomes curious and looks at her. Unexpectedly, she points toward her assistant Lihan and jokingly accuses him of sexually harassing her. The entire room immediately falls silent in shock. None of the employees know how to react to such a serious accusation. The playful mood suddenly becomes tense and uncomfortable. Later that night, after everyone has gone home, Lihan approaches Miss MJI to discuss what happened. He calmly explains that she must have misunderstood something. He reminds her that there are security cameras installed in her house and suggests that she can check the CCTV footage herself. According to him, he never even touched her. Miss MJI then asks him why he remained silent during the dinner when she accused him in front of everyone. Lihan explains that responding at that moment would only have created more confusion and embarrassment. He believed it was better to stay quiet rather than escalate the misunderstanding. After this conversation, Miss MJI suddenly asks him if he would like to go on a date with her. Lihan answers honestly that he does not like her in that way. She becomes curious and asks him why. Lihan explains that she is practically perfect in every way, which ironically makes the situation even more complicated. He reminds her that when she mentioned dating earlier, she said it very casually. For 3 years he has worked beside her every single day, yet she never once showed any romantic interest in him. Now suddenly she claims she might like him, which makes it hard for him to believe her feelings are genuine. In another scene, Lihan is seen working out at the gym with his friend. His friend asks him why he suddenly became so serious about exercising. Lihan jokingly explains that he can finally see hope for his future. Soon he will leave his exhausting job and escape the life of a corporate slave. His friend sarcastically agrees, saying he understands that feeling better than anyone. Lihan appears relieved and even slightly happy because he believes Miss MJI might secretly have feelings for him. While they are talking, Lihan's friend receives a message from Lihan's family asking him to bring Lihan to a family dinner. Hearing this makes Lihan uneasy. At the same time, Miss MJI and her friend secretly go to Lihan's house. Her friend claims that her ex-husband stole her pet turtle and she believes the turtle might be there. The two women quietly search the house for the missing pet. Just as they are looking around, Lihan and his friend return home. The moment they enter the house, Lihan's friend senses that something feels strange, as if someone has been inside. When he goes toward his room, he suddenly finds his ex-wife walking out holding the turtle. He immediately accuses her of stealing, reminding her that she used to be a doctor. She angrily replies that she is not stealing anything. She simply came to take back what already belongs to her. Meanwhile, Miss MJI hides inside Lihan's bedroom. When she hears him approaching, she panics and quickly hides under his blanket on the bed. Lihan enters the room without noticing anything unusual and goes straight to the bathroom to take a shower. After finishing his shower, he walks back into the room and notices someone lying on his bed. Thinking it might be an intruder, he kicks the person and knocks them off the bed. Only then does he realize that the mysterious figure is actually Miss MJI. To make matters even more awkward, he had just stepped out of the bathroom without clothes. The moment Miss MJI sees him in that state, she screams loudly in embarrassment. Lihan also becomes extremely flustered. Miss MJI quickly runs out of the room to escape the awkward situation. Later, the two of them end up sitting on the same sofa in silence. Neither of them knows what to say after such an embarrassing incident. Lihan finally suggests that they should talk about what happened earlier that day, but deep down both of them realize that the awkward moment they just experienced will probably stay in their memories forever. Meanwhile, another storyline shows Lihan's older brother visiting their parents after a long time. His parents are happy to see him again. During the conversation, Lihan's mother mentions that they invited Lihan for dinner that night and that his girlfriend recently broke up with him. Soon after, Lihan receives a call from his mother asking him to come home because his older brother has arrived. He agrees to attend the dinner. While returning home, Lihan and Miss MJI enter an elevator together. Suddenly, the elevator stops midway due to a malfunction. The unexpected situation causes Lihan to panic. Seeing his fear, Miss MJI becomes worried and asks if he is okay. In his panic, Lihan grabs her and asks her not to leave him alone. She calmly reassures him that she will stay there with him. Later, when the elevator problem is resolved, they go their separate ways. Miss MJI wants to ask more about his strange reaction, but she hesitates and remains silent. Lihan drops her off at her house before going to his family's dinner. During the meal, his mother suggests that he should return home if his work is finished. Lihan replies that he has no intention of moving back yet. Later, while drinking tea alone, Lihan is joined by his older brother. During their conversation, the brother reveals that he was actually the one who introduced Lihan's girlfriend to a fake wealthy man in order to test her loyalty. This scheme ultimately led to their breakup. Instead of becoming angry, Lihan thanks his brother because the situation helped him understand the true nature of his girlfriend. Before leaving, Lihan advises his brother to spend his time on more meaningful things rather than interfering in other people's lives. Meanwhile, Miss MJI tries to contact her new assistant, but the assistant is busy playing a video game and ignores the phone calls. When the character in the game dies because of the interruption, the assistant becomes annoyed and refuses to answer. This makes Miss MJI worry that something might be wrong. She calls Lihan and tells him that she fears something bad might have happened to the assistant because she is not responding. Lihan calmly explains that after work hours many employees simply ignore office calls, so there is no need to worry. During the conversation, Miss MJI suddenly tells him that he should forget everything she said earlier about dating or marriage. Later, they visit an art gallery together. Miss MJI admires a painting and explains that it was created by an artist named Moff. Hearing the name shocks Lihan because Moff is actually his older brother. Just then, his brother arrives at the gallery. Surprisingly, he already knows Miss MJI, which surprises her greatly. The two begin discussing a possible business collaboration. Watching them talk comfortably makes Lihan feel uneasy, so he leaves the room. Miss MJI does not understand why he suddenly walked away. His brother jokingly suggests that maybe Lihan felt jealous. Soon Lihan returns and pulls Miss MJI outside. She asks him directly if he was jealous. He denies it, but she continues questioning his behavior. The conversation becomes emotional. Lihan explains that she confused him by asking about marriage and dating, only to later pretend the conversation never happened. Because of that, he claims he cannot understand her feelings. The next day at the office, Miss MJI begins ignoring him and speaking coldly whenever they interact. Lihan points out that her behavior is unpredictable, but she responds sharply that after working with her for 3 years he should already know that. Meanwhile, his brother visits again to discuss the collaboration. Miss MJI closes the office door to talk privately with him, which makes Lihan even more irritated. Later, interviews continue for the new assistant position, but Miss MJI keeps rejecting candidates based only on their appearance. Eventually, one candidate impresses them with perfect answers. Lihan becomes strangely uncomfortable and ends the interview quickly. Miss MJI notices his behavior and questions him. She reminds him that he wanted to leave the job, so why is he not helping her hire a replacement? In frustration, Lihan grabs her arm and they almost kiss. Suddenly, a female assistant rushes into the room in panic, interrupting the moment. Miss MJI pushes Lihan away and sends the assistant out quickly. Afterward, she realizes she pushed him too hard and becomes worried. Later, Lihan calls her and claims that because of the push his condition worsened and the doctor told him to rest at home for a week. At that moment, Miss MJI notices an object on her desk that Lihan's brother had given her earlier. Seeing it triggers a childhood memory in which she had once been left alone somewhere while waiting for her mother. As time passed and her mother did not return, she became increasingly frightened and anxious. This memory slowly reveals the emotional experiences that shaped her personality. At one point during Miss MJI's childhood memory, while she was waiting anxiously for her mother, a young boy approached her. Seeing that she looked worried and lonely, he kindly offered her a piece of candy. The small gesture immediately comforted her. Soon the two children began playing together and her fear slowly disappeared. That simple moment stayed deeply in her memory because it turned a frightening situation into a happy one. Back in the present day, Assistant Yuna is sitting in the office during work hours, completely absorbed in playing a mobile game. While she is busy with her game, a coworker walks over and begins chatting with her. The colleague mentions Lihan and points out that he is famous in the company for never taking a single day off from work. Because of that, everyone finds it very strange that he suddenly decided to take leave. Yuna smirks as if she knows something interesting. She tells the coworkers that she actually knows the reason behind Lihan's sudden absence. However, instead of revealing it immediately, she demands that they buy snacks for her first. Only after they agree to order food for her does she prepare to share the secret. Just as she is about to reveal the information, her phone rings. It is a call from Miss MJI. Miss MJI asks her an unusual question. She wonders if secretly entering someone else's house without permission would violate any laws. Yuna immediately replies that such a question should really be answered by a lawyer. Curious herself, she quickly searches for the information online and confirms that entering someone's house without permission can indeed be considered illegal. The reason Miss MJI asked this question is because she is planning to secretly visit Lihan's house. When she finally enters his home and walks into his bedroom, she sees Lihan lying down and resting quietly. She slowly sits beside him and studies his face while he sleeps. Looking at him closely, she murmurs to herself that he is actually very handsome. As she watches him sleep, she begins remembering how he always took care of her whenever she became sick in the past. He would always prepare remedies and make sure she recovered quickly. Thinking about those memories, she decides to return the favor. She quietly walks into the kitchen and begins attempting to prepare a homemade remedy for him. However, cooking is clearly not her strength. She struggles with the ingredients and makes quite a lot of noise while trying to figure things out. The sounds eventually wake Lihan up. Curious, he walks into the kitchen and is surprised to see Miss MJI standing there, awkwardly attempting to make medicine for him. After finishing the drink she prepared, Lihan tastes it. Even though the result is not perfect, he sincerely thanks her for the effort she made. During this moment, Miss MJI asks him about the strange incident that happened earlier in the elevator when he suddenly panicked. Lihan does not want to reveal the real reason, so he casually lies and says there was nothing important about it. According to him, he simply had not slept properly, which made him feel weak and uncomfortable. Later, Lihan lies back down on his bed while Miss MJI sits nearby. He thanks her again for visiting his house and checking on him. She casually responds that it was not a big deal and claims she was already planning to meet someone nearby anyway, so she decided to stop by. Hearing this, Lihan immediately assumes that she plans to meet his brother, Maf. The thought makes him uncomfortable and he quickly asks her to stay a little longer instead of leaving. Meanwhile, another scene shows both Lihan and his older brother returning to their parents' house for dinner again. Their father is extremely happy to see both of his sons together. During dinner, their mother notices that the older brother seems unusually cheerful lately. She curiously asks whether he has started liking someone. The brother smiles and admits that he has recently begun dating a woman. He says that it is still early in the relationship, but one day he plans to introduce her to the entire family. Lihan is sitting quietly nearby, listening to the conversation. As he hears the details, he remembers the moment when he tried to stop Miss MJI from meeting Maf earlier. However, she ignored his request and still went to see him. Then the older brother continues speaking and describes the woman he likes. He says that she is strong, intelligent, and comes from a respectable background. He even mentions that Lihan already knows her. Hearing this immediately makes Lihan suspicious and jealous. Unable to tolerate the conversation any longer, he stands up and leaves the table. Elsewhere, Miss MJI is sitting alone in her office thinking deeply about the day she met Maf. During their meeting, Maf told her something surprising. He explained that the two of them had actually met once before when they were children. He described how, as a child, he once became separated from his younger brother at an amusement park. His younger brother was stuck on a Ferris wheel that suddenly stopped moving, leaving the boy frightened and alone high above the ground. At that same time, a young girl was also there trying to calm him down. Maf then revealed something shocking. That frightened boy was his younger brother Lihan. This revelation leaves Miss MJI stunned. Sitting in her office later, she begins connecting the dots. The boy she met long ago had also introduced himself as Lihan. Her current assistant's name is Lihan as well. She wonders if this could really be the same person or if it is just a strange coincidence. Just then, Assistant Yuna enters the office and asks why Lihan did not come to work that day. Miss MJI calmly explains that he is feeling unwell and the doctor advised him to rest. Yuna then mentions something unexpected. She says she heard that Lihan was planning to join the employees on a hiking trip. Hearing this makes Miss MJI immediately angry. She complains that the employees always organize activities without telling her. Yuna quickly clarifies that it is actually an official company event. Miss MJI becomes shocked and demands to know how a company event could be organized without her knowledge. Soon afterward, she decides to join the hiking trip herself. During the hike, the other employees quickly become tired from climbing the mountain. However, Miss MJI seems surprisingly energetic and shows no signs of exhaustion. She boldly declares that anyone who wants to continue climbing with her is welcome to join, except for Lihan. Naturally, no one volunteers. Eventually, only Miss MJI and Lihan continue walking further up the trail. After some distance, they stop to rest for a moment. Suddenly, a snake appears and bites Lihan. Without hesitation, Miss MJI quickly sucks the venom from the wound in order to stop the poison from spreading through his body. During this tense moment, Lihan finally admits that Moff is his older brother. Miss MJI calmly replies that she already knows. The conversation then turns to the childhood Ferris wheel incident. Miss MJI explains that she wanted to confirm whether the frightened boy she met that day was actually him. The moment Lihan hears this, emotions overwhelm him. He suddenly pulls her clothes and kisses her. Later that evening, the employees wait together, wondering where their boss and assistant have gone. As they gossip among themselves, they begin speculating that the two of them might secretly be dating. Eventually, Miss MJI and Lihan return together from the mountain. During dinner that night, Lihan gently advises Miss MJI to drink less alcohol. However, after becoming slightly drunk, she suddenly asks one of the female employees whether she likes Lihan. The employee nervously denies it. Miss MJI then boldly announces that Lihan actually likes her. All the employees stare at her in shock. Realizing she may have revealed too much, she quickly changes the topic and asks everyone if they like her as their boss. The employees quickly agree. Later that night, the hotel owner informs Lihan that there are not enough rooms available, so some guests will need to share space. Because Miss MJI is drunk, Lihan escorts her safely to her room. While he is outside answering a phone call, he realizes that the caller is his ex-girlfriend. He initially tries to ignore the call, but when he looks up, he sees that she is actually standing nearby. She asks him for another chance and tries to restart their relationship. Lihan refuses to listen to her pleas. However, since it is late at night, he kindly arranges a room for her at the hotel. Miss MJI accidentally witnesses this interaction from inside her room. Seeing Lihan with his ex-girlfriend makes her feel hurt and insecure. Feeling upset, she decides to leave and return home. When Lihan later checks on her, he discovers that she has already gone. He tries calling her, but she refuses to answer. Eventually, he learns through the driver that she is heading home. The two of them start messaging each other. Lihan tells her that he is following behind her. While driving, he finally realizes something important. He has truly fallen in love with Miss MJI. Meanwhile, Miss MJI stops her car along the road and waits. Soon Lihan arrives there as well. Standing in front of her, he honestly confesses his feelings. Hearing his confession makes Miss MJI incredibly happy, and the two share a passionate kiss. Later, when she returns home and remembers the moment, she cannot help feeling shy and excited. She calls Lihan again. He jokingly asks if she already misses him even though they were apart for only a few hours. Then he tells her to look outside. When she does, she sees him standing outside her house. She invites him inside, but he politely refuses. He explains that he does not want to rush things too quickly. Later, Miss MJI excitedly tells her friend everything that happened between her and Lihan. Her friend laughs and says that their complicated relationship sounds dramatic enough to become a television series. The next morning, Miss MJI arrives at the office looking unusually cheerful. The employees quickly notice her bright mood and begin whispering among themselves. When Lihan enters her office for work matters, she subtly gestures for him to come closer. Unfortunately, he does not notice her hint, which makes her feel slightly disappointed. Later, she sees a female employee adjusting Lihan's suit. The sight immediately makes her jealous. Even though Lihan tries to explain that they must behave professionally in the workplace, Miss MJI refuses to listen. Her mood becomes worse during a meeting, where she barely pays attention and instead messages her friend. Eventually, she storms out of the meeting after receiving a call. When Lihan offers to accompany her, she angrily refuses. Concerned about her behavior, Lihan informs Yuna that he needs to step out for a while and asks her to handle the remaining work. Meanwhile, Miss MJI remembers her friend's earlier advice that strange behavior in relationships could indicate psychological issues. She tries to convince herself that this cannot be true about Lihan. Determined to get answers, she goes directly to her friend's clinic. At the same time, Lihan visits a hospital to seek advice from his friend about his relationship problems with Miss MJI. However, his friend jokingly causes confusion by pretending he had plastic surgery and showing Lihan's photo as proof. Meanwhile, both Lihan and Miss MJI begin imagining romantic moments with each other in their minds. Miss MJI accidentally presses a button in the clinic that calls the next patient. The patient who enters the room turns out to be Lihan himself. Both of them are completely shocked to see each other. At the same hospital, Lihan's friend suddenly runs into his ex-wife again. The two immediately start arguing and insulting each other. While fighting, they burst into the same room where Lihan and Miss MJI are sitting. The moment all four of them see each other, they freeze in surprise. The situation becomes incredibly awkward as everyone realizes they have unexpectedly gathered in the same place. In the following scene, Minji and Lihan are walking together outside the hospital building. The evening air is calm and both of them move slowly as if neither wants the moment to end too soon. After a few seconds of silence, Minji looks at him curiously and asks why he had come to the hospital in the first place. She wonders if he was feeling unwell or if something serious had happened. Lihan smiles a little awkwardly and explains that he had actually come to meet his friend. According to him, the reason for visiting was to ask for advice about how to properly invite Minji on a date. Hearing this answer surprises Minji. She suddenly remembers something her friend had once told her. Lihan's friend is terrible at giving dating advice and doesn't really understand relationships at all. Because of that memory, Minji laughs softly and tells Lihan that he should forget about asking his expert friend for help. She says that she doesn't need any complicated romantic plans or perfectly arranged dates. For her, simply spending time with him is already enough. She adds that whenever she is with him, even the simplest moments feel meaningful and special. After saying this, Minji gently rests her head on Lihan's shoulder. The gesture feels natural and comfortable. Lihan looks at her for a moment, clearly touched by her honesty, and then leans closer and kisses her affectionately. Meanwhile, somewhere else, Mafi is waiting impatiently for Minji. He had expected to meet her, but when she doesn't arrive, he becomes disappointed and irritated. In frustration, he decides to call Lihan's former girlfriend. During the conversation, he reveals an important secret. Lihan is actually extremely wealthy, a billionaire in fact. By sharing this information, Mafi hopes to create trouble for his younger brother. Later, the story moves to the office. Several employees are gathered together and excitedly discussing something. Assistant Yuna notices their enthusiasm and immediately assumes they must be talking about the growing closeness between Minji and Lihan. However, when she listens carefully, she realizes they are only discussing a newly opened restaurant that has become popular recently. Learning this makes her slightly disappointed, since she had hoped for more interesting gossip. At the same time, Minji and Lihan happen to visit that exact restaurant. Minji had discovered the place through one of her employees. That employee had gone there with her boyfriend, taken a selfie and posted it online. When Minji saw the picture, she became curious about the place and decided to try it herself. Now the two of them are sitting together at a table, enjoying their meal. While they are talking and laughing, a small piece of food accidentally sticks near Minji's mouth. Without thinking too much, Lihan reaches out and gently wipes it away. At that exact moment, a girl standing nearby secretly takes a photo of them. She excitedly tells them that their picture will look perfect on the restaurant's photo wall. Hearing this immediately makes Minji nervous. She doesn't want her photo displayed publicly where people might recognize her. However, she also worries that if she refuses directly, Lihan might feel hurt. At the same time, Lihan starts thinking that maybe Minji is testing him to see how he reacts. He becomes determined not to fail whatever test she might be giving him. Strangely, both of them speak at the same time and say that they do not want the photo to be placed on the wall. But just a moment later, they both change their minds and say the opposite, agreeing that it would be fine. Minji actually only said yes on the surface. Deep inside, she is still uncertain. As the girl begins to walk away with the photo, Minji silently hopes that Lihan will change his decision and stop her. She thinks to herself that he should reconsider one more time. Instead, Lihan confidently tells the girl to go ahead and hang the photo on the wall. He even jokingly asks her to draw a heart around it. Because of this, the picture of the two of them is eventually displayed among the other couple's photos in the restaurant. Coincidentally, some employees from Minji's office later visit the same restaurant. While looking around, they suddenly notice the photo of Minji and Lihan hanging on the wall, which immediately sparks curiosity and gossip. After finishing their meal, Minji and Lihan leave the restaurant and begin walking down the street together while holding hands. Everything feels peaceful until suddenly Lihan's ex-girlfriend appears in front of them. She calls out to Lihan and insists that she needs to talk to him. Lihan initially tries to ignore her and continue walking, but she keeps repeating her request. Eventually, he agrees to listen to what she wants to say. Minji doesn't feel comfortable leaving them alone, but she realizes she doesn't have much choice. Reluctantly, she decides to return home and gives them space to talk. Once Minji leaves, Lihan tells his ex-girlfriend that they should finish the conversation quickly. She takes him to her apartment and begins reminding him about their past relationship, bringing up memories of the time they spent together. During the conversation, she confronts him about something important. She says that he lied to her in the past because he is actually very rich. She asks why he pretended to be poor while they were dating. Lihan calmly replies that while they were together he always tried to make sure she never lacked anything. Even so, she eventually chose to leave him. Because of that, he believes there is no reason for them to start over again. With that, he decides to leave, but before he can walk away, she stops him once more and asks an unsettling question. She wonders what Minji will think once she discovers that Lihan is secretly extremely wealthy. Lihan does not answer her and quietly leaves the apartment. However, the question continues to echo in his mind as he walks outside. He starts wondering how Minji might react if she truly learns the truth about his identity. The story briefly shifts to the past. Lihan is sitting alone, reading something on his phone. At that moment, his friend comes upstairs and begins complaining about his own married life. The friend says that if he had known marriage would be so difficult, he might never have gotten married at all. While listening, Lihan notices an article on his phone discussing the serious financial struggles of Minji's company. After reading about the company's problems, he tells his friend that if any job openings appear in the Mi group, he should inform him immediately. Lihan says that he wants to join the company and help it grow stronger. Returning to the present, Lihan runs quickly through the streets, thinking about everything that has happened. Meanwhile, Minji is also reflecting on the past. She realizes how much Lihan has helped her company improve. Without his support and ideas, the business might have completely collapsed. While thinking about this, she receives the news that Lihan has arrived outside her house. She rushes outside to meet him. Before he can even say anything, Minji suddenly pulls him close and kisses him passionately. Lihan is surprised but extremely happy. He hugs her warmly in return. Later, after he leaves, Minji calls Gi and says they need to seriously discuss the situation involving Lihan. When Minji eventually meets Mafi again, he begins telling a long story about their childhood. According to him, he once had a balloon that his younger brother desperately wanted. Because he refused to give it up, his brother supposedly became angry and often abandoned him. He continues the story by describing how he later met a girl who helped him forget those painful memories. Then he mentions the incident on the Ferris wheel and claims that it was during that moment he realized how deeply his younger brother hated him. He even suggests that their parents always sided with Lihan instead of supporting him. After finishing his emotional story, Mafi tells Minji that now she knows everything about him, so perhaps they should begin a new relationship together. However, Minji is not convinced. She calmly responds that his story may be finished, but that doesn't mean she must stay. She stands up as if preparing to leave. Mafi is shocked and angrily asks how she can just walk away after he waited for her. At the same time, Lihan and Mafi's father learns that both of his sons have fallen in love with the same woman. Their mother explains that the woman's name is Minji and that she is also Lihan's boss. Back at the meeting, Minji clearly tells Mafi that she does not have any romantic feelings for him. Because of that, everything he is saying has no meaning to her. Maffy suddenly grabs her hand and demands to know if she likes his brother instead, the same brother who once left them alone on the Ferris wheel. He begins hinting that Lihan is hiding important secrets. Before he can reveal anything else, Lihan arrives and steps between them, trying to take Minji away. Maffy becomes furious and punches Lihan, causing him to fall backward onto a sofa. He raises his fist again, ready to strike once more, but Minji quickly intervenes. She stops him and slaps him hard across the face. Filled with anger, Minji declares that she doesn't care about Maffy's past or identity. What matters is that Lihan is now the man she loves. She warns that anyone who harms him will have to face her consequences. As they leave together, Lihan feels deeply touched by the way Minji defended him. Wanting to cheer her up, he begins talking about the things she likes and suggests that they visit a theme park. Minji is surprised that he knows so much about her preferences. When she asks how he learned all those details, Lihan casually explains that everything was written on her dating profile. It turns out Minji's mother secretly created an online account for her in order to help find a suitable husband. The profile contained all of Minji's personal interests and habits. When Minji realizes this, she becomes extremely annoyed with her mother. Later, the two of them arrive at the amusement park and spend the day enjoying the rides and attractions together. They laugh, play games, and share simple moments of happiness. At one point, Minji closes her eyes to make a wish. Lihan gently kisses her cheek, making her smile brightly. Eventually, they ride the Ferris wheel together. Lihan feels a little nervous because of his past memories, but Minji reassures him that he has nothing to fear while she is beside him. When he asks what wish she made, she refuses to reveal it. To surprise her, Lihan prepares a small gift involving colorful balloons. Seeing them fills Minji with joy. In that magical moment, Lihan finally confesses his feelings and tells her that he loves her. As night falls, they continue walking through the amusement park. Lihan says he wants to reveal an important truth. Before he can continue, Minji calmly tells him that she already knows he is a billionaire. Lihan is completely shocked. Minji explains that when her company was struggling, she needed someone capable of helping her rebuild it. When Lihan appeared for a job interview, she immediately suspected something unusual about him. Later, she investigated his background and discovered that he was actually the heir to a powerful business family. She also learned that he had distanced himself from his family because of his marriage and preferred to hide his identity. Instead of exposing him, Minji secretly protected him. She even purchased the apartment he was renting so he could continue living there comfortably and increased his salary with bonuses. At first, her father questioned why she treated Lihan so favorably, but once she explained how valuable he was to the company's success, her father understood. Finally, Minji smiles and tells him that she always knew the truth. She simply chose to stay silent because being with him made her happy. After spending time together, Lihan drives Minji back to her house. The night is calm and neither of them seems eager for the moment to end. When the car finally stops in front of her home, Minji slowly gets out. Lihan is about to leave after dropping her off, but suddenly he pauses and calls out to her. With a soft smile, he tells her that he is already looking forward to seeing her again the next day. Hearing those words makes Minji feel shy. Her face turns slightly red, and instead of replying properly, she quickly runs inside the house to hide her embarrassment. Watching her reaction, Lihan smiles to himself. From the way she behaved, he feels as if she indirectly invited him to come inside. For a moment he hesitates, but eventually he decides to follow her toward the house. The two of them are just about to enter the room together when Minji suddenly notices something unexpected. Her mother is already there in the living room. Minji becomes startled and immediately asks her mother why she has come at such a late hour. She even tells her that she should probably go back home because her father must be waiting for her. However, Minji's mother seems more curious about something else. She notices Lihan standing there and asks why Minji's assistant has come to the house at this time of night. Trying to remain calm, Minji quickly invents an excuse. She explains that they had some important work to discuss, so she asked Lihan to come over for a short meeting. Her mother listens but doesn't seem fully convinced. Instead, she suddenly announces something surprising. She tells Minji that she has already arranged 12 blind dates for her during the next week. According to her, Minji must attend each of those meetings. Then she turns toward Lihan and instructs him seriously that since he works as Minji's assistant, it is his responsibility to make sure she arrives at all of those blind dates on time. Hearing this makes Lihan uncomfortable. He quickly decides to reveal the truth and says that there is actually no need for blind dates because he and Minji are already in a relationship. Minji's mother looks at both of them in disbelief. She assumes they must be joking or pretending. Laughing slightly, she says that it looks like they are simply acting and probably watching too many television dramas. Minji then teasingly reminds her mother that she was the one who always insisted that Minji should start dating someone. Now that she has finally done so, her mother refuses to believe it. Even though Minji's mother continues doubting them, the two decide to prove their relationship by behaving like a real couple right in front of her. After seeing enough of their affectionate behavior, Minji finally asks her mother if she believes them now. Then she escorts her mother to the door and politely sends her home. Once the door closes, the house becomes quiet again. However, their peace does not last long. Suddenly, Minji's friend and Lihan's friend both arrive at the house unexpectedly. They claim they came to ask Lihan for advice about something important. But Lihan has no interest in helping them at that moment. Without hesitation, he quickly pushes both of them out of the house and shuts the door behind them. Later that night, Minji lies on her bed pretending to be asleep. Lihan quietly approaches her, believing she has already fallen asleep. Gently leaning forward, he kisses her forehead. At that exact moment, Minji opens her eyes. Lihan realizes she had only been pretending to sleep. Both of them laugh softly at the situation, and soon the atmosphere becomes more romantic. They spend the rest of the night together, enjoying each other's company and sharing tender moments. The next morning, Lihan prepares to leave for work and tells Minji that she should get ready to go to the office as well. However, Minji lazily replies that she doesn't feel like working today and would rather stay home. When Lihan arrives at the office, he overhears some employees gossiping among themselves. They are discussing rumors that Minji might be dating someone secretly. Because Minji is wealthy and powerful, the employees speculate that whoever she is dating might simply be trying to take advantage of her. Hearing these comments immediately makes Lihan angry. He walks over to them and scolds them for wasting time on useless gossip instead of focusing on their work. Just then, Minji enters the office. The employees instantly become quiet and start observing both of them carefully. Minji quickly realizes that people might have already guessed about her relationship with Lihan. Soon afterward, she introduces everyone to a new assistant who has recently joined the company. After Minji leaves the room, assistant Yuna approaches Lihan and jokingly tells him that he now has competition. Lihan does not respond and simply returns to his desk. A little later, he decides to go speak with Minji, but before he can do that, she calls the new assistant instead. The assistant walks over to her and begins discussing work matters. Watching this interaction makes Lihan feel strange and uneasy. He doesn't fully understand why he feels bothered. Shortly afterward, the new assistant comes to Lihan and says that Minji has asked him to collect the current work schedule from him. While looking at the assistant, Lihan starts analyzing him carefully. In his mind, he thinks the new guy must have had some kind of cosmetic surgery because he looks quite handsome. However, Lihan quickly reassures himself that he is still more attractive. He convinces himself that Minji could never prefer someone else over him. All he has to do is wait patiently. The assistant asks him again about the schedule because Lihan had been lost in thought. Lihan quickly replies that he will send the details by email. After a while, the assistant returns and asks what kind of coffee Minji prefers. Lihan secretly decides to play a small trick. He prepares a cup of coffee but intentionally adds far more coffee beans than necessary, making it extremely strong and bitter. Then he asks the assistant to deliver it to Minji. Inside his mind, Lihan feels satisfied. He assumes Minji will hate the taste and become angry with the new assistant. When Minji drinks the coffee, her expression immediately changes because the taste is strange. However, when the assistant asks if she dislikes it, she quickly says that it is perfectly fine. Watching this reaction confuses Lihan. Instead of feeling pleased, he becomes worried about why she didn't complain. Meanwhile, other employees begin whispering among themselves. They joke that earlier they had to deal with Minji's strict personality and now they might also have to deal with Lihan's temper. That evening, Lihan returns home and talks with his friend about the situation. His friend jokingly tells him that both he and the new assistant are about 90% perfect in terms of appearance. When Lihan shows him a photo of the assistant named Lee, the friend says that Lee is also about 90% attractive, but since he is new, he might have a slight advantage. While they are talking, Lihan suddenly receives a call from Minji. She tells him she needs his help with some translation work. On the way to her house, Lihan begins feeling irritated about the new assistant again. When he arrives, Minji notices his strange mood and asks why he seems upset. Finally, Lihan confesses his frustration. He asks why she needed another assistant when he is already working for her. He reminds her that he is not just her employee but also her boyfriend. Minji laughs when she hears this. She realizes he is simply feeling jealous. When Lihan asks why she is laughing, Minji explains that whenever he becomes jealous, his personality changes completely. Instead of calming down, Lihan remains stubbornly upset. In response, he suddenly lifts Minji into his arms and carries her to the bedroom. Soon the tension between them turns into affection and they spend another romantic moment together. Later we see Lihan accompanying Minji to the airport. She is leaving for an important trip. Lee and Yuna also arrive there to see her off. When all of them meet, Lee confidently tells Lihan not to worry because he will take good care of Minji while she is away. Seeing Lihan's angry expression, Lee quickly corrects himself and says that both he and Yuna will look after her. After Minji departs, Lihan quietly tells himself that when she returns, he will ask her to marry him. Back at home, he struggles to decide what message he should send to her. The next day at the office, Minji's chair remains empty. Seeing that empty seat makes it difficult for Lihan to focus on his work. Later, he even visits the restaurant where they once had dinner together. Sitting there alone, he keeps remembering her and the moments they shared. Before leaving the restaurant, he notices their photo still hanging on the wall. The sight fills him with both happiness and longing. Unable to concentrate, he eventually goes to Minji's house. To his surprise, Minji suddenly arrives there as well. Lihan becomes extremely happy and asks why she returned so early from her trip. Minji smiles and tells him she knew he would be waiting for her. Hearing that, Lihan immediately embraces her. The following morning, Minji wakes up and sees Lihan sleeping beside her. Just then, she receives a phone call that makes her expression turn serious. Lihan notices her sadness and asks what happened, but she chooses not to tell him. Later, Minji is invited to Lihan's family home by his mother. When she arrives there, she suddenly remembers that she had visited this place once during childhood. Lihan's mother speaks to her politely but firmly. She acknowledges that Minji is talented and capable, but she says she does not approve of her marrying Lihan. According to her, Lihan must eventually return to manage the family company. He cannot spend his entire life working as Minji's assistant. She also mentions that because of Minji, her other son Mafi has been deeply troubled. Finally, she suggests that it would be better for everyone if Minji and Lihan ended their relationship. Minji becomes angry after hearing this. She asks for whom exactly the breakup would be good. She also questions whether Lihan would truly remain the same person after such a separation. Lihan's mother quietly replies that Minji should at least think about Mafi's feelings as well. The conversation leaves the situation tense and uncertain. Suddenly, Mafi appears from the side, shouting loudly. His sudden arrival shocks everyone present and the tense atmosphere becomes even heavier. It soon becomes clear that Mafi has been undergoing medical treatment for some time. His condition has been affecting the entire family and the situation has clearly taken an emotional toll on everyone involved. Lihan's mother looks upset and worried. With a trembling voice, she demands to know who is responsible for everything that has happened. She says that people should at least consider the feelings and future of her elder son. Her words carry both frustration and fear, as if she believes someone has treated her family unfairly. MJI listens carefully but does not remain silent. Instead, she calmly asks a difficult question that immediately changes the mood of the conversation. She asks whether protecting the elder son means that the younger son must be sacrificed. Her words sound harsh, but she speaks them with a serious expression. Hearing this, Lehan's mother becomes extremely angry. She cannot believe that MJI would say such a thing. She raises her voice and demands to know how MJI could speak in such a disrespectful way. However, MJI does not appear afraid. She asks calmly whether what she said was actually wrong. Then she mentions something unexpected. She says that even Lehan's name was changed because of the problems within the family. Lehan's mother is stunned when she hears this. She looks shocked and confused. She asks MJI how she could possibly know about such a personal family matter. After a moment of silence, Lehan's mother finally reveals the truth. She explains that Mayfi began showing psychological problems when he was still a very young child. From that time onward, his behavior was unpredictable and difficult to control. MJI responds firmly. She tells Lehan's mother that as long as she is present, no one will be able to harm the man she loves. She also asks why Lehan's mother continues to think so negatively about the situation. At this point, it becomes clear that Lehan himself is unaware of many details from his family's past. The story then shifts to memories from the past. When Mayfi and Lehan were children, Mayfi often caused trouble for his older brother. His behavior created constant tension inside the house. Lehan's parents were worried and confused about how to deal with the situation. They loved both sons but did not know how to fix the growing conflict between them. Later, Lehan sits down with his parents and speaks honestly about the past. He tells them that he actually remembers everything from their childhood. He remembers how Mayfi behaved and how much pain the situation caused in the family. However, Lehan explains that he chose to remain silent about it for many years. He did not want to cause more pain for his parents. He understood that they were already struggling and did not want to make things harder for them. During this conversation, Lehan's father suddenly asks him about a girl. Lehan looks confused and asks which girl he is talking about. His mother reminds him about the girl he met when he was younger. She asks if that girl was MJI, then she reveals that MJI had visited her earlier that day. Lehan's father adds that he was impressed by MJI. When she spoke with his wife, she was confident and intelligent. Her words were so convincing that Lehan's mother had nothing to say in response. Because of this, he says that he really liked her personality. Both of Lehan's parents appear pleased with the idea of their son being in a relationship with MJI. Their approval surprises Lehan but also makes him happy. Meanwhile, MJI has returned home but she cannot relax. She feels nervous and uneasy. Her mind keeps imagining different possibilities. She thinks that after Lehan talks with his family, he might come to her and suggest ending their relationship. Just imagining this situation makes her heart feel heavy. She begins picturing a scene in which Lehan arrives to break up with her. In her imagination, she stops him before he can say anything. She begs him not to end their relationship. But after thinking about it, she shakes her head and scolds herself. She says that such behavior would not suit her personality at all. Then she comes up with another idea. Instead of begging him, she decides she will tell him to bring all his belongings and move into her house. As she imagines this bold plan, she suddenly feels happy and confident again. She convinces herself that this idea will work perfectly. Just then Lehan arrives. He tells MJI that he wants to say something important to her. While he is speaking, MJI notices a suitcase nearby. Seeing the suitcase makes her heart sink. She immediately assumes that he has packed his belongings and is preparing to leave. She thinks that if he has already made such a decision, there will be no way to stop him. But Lehan surprises her completely. Instead of talking about breaking up, he asks her an unexpected question. He asks if he can stay at her house and live with her. MJI is completely shocked by this sudden request. A flashback reveals what happened earlier when Lehan visited his parents. During that visit, he told them firmly that this time he would not sacrifice his own happiness for the sake of family expectations. He declared that he wanted to live with MJI. At first, Lehan believed his parents would reject his decision. Thinking they would never accept such an idea, he began leaving the house. But before he could go, his parents stopped him. To his surprise, they told him that they actually liked MJI. Hearing those words made Lehan extremely happy. Back in the present, Lehan tells MJI that he cannot even imagine living without her. He asks again if he can stay with her. MJI begins listing several conditions in a playful but serious tone. She says that if he wants to live with her, he must always stay where she can see him. He must also help her with all kinds of work. While she continues explaining her long list of rules, Lehan gently interrupts her. He reminds her of a promise he made earlier that he would never leave her alone. He explains that he has changed his decision and will not resign from his job. Instead, he promises once again that he will always remain by her side. Hearing these words fills MJI with happiness. Without thinking, she hugs him tightly. After a while, she suddenly realizes that she feels hungry. She immediately tells Lehan to cook something for them. Soon after, the story shifts to MJI's company, where a major product launch event is taking place. The company is introducing a newly designed sofa. During the presentation, a man from the audience suddenly stands up. He accuses MJI's company of copying the design from another company. The accusation shocks everyone present. People in the audience begin whispering among themselves. The atmosphere quickly becomes tense. MJI feels worried because such accusations could damage the reputation of her company. However, Lehan quickly takes action. He organizes everything necessary to prove that the design truly belongs to MJI's company. MJI calmly asks the man if he has any proof. The man confidently produces a device containing design files. These designs appear very similar to the sofa created by MJI's company. Despite this, MJI remains calm. She explains to the audience that although the two sofas might appear similar at first glance, the details of the design are completely different. The man challenges her again and asks how she can prove that her company created the design first. Soon, the timeline of the product's development is presented. The records clearly show that MJI's company designed the product earlier than the other company. As a result, it becomes obvious that the accusation was false. After the event ends, MJI confronts the man and warns him that she could file a legal case against him for making such a serious accusation without evidence. The product launch eventually becomes a huge success. Later, MJI receives a call from her father. He congratulates her and says that the event was very successful. Then he mentions that her mother heard that Lehan is staying with her. He asks when she plans to bring him home. Feeling slightly uncomfortable, MJI quickly ends the call. Soon afterward, she overhears some employees talking. They mention that once again Lehan saved the company during a difficult situation. Hearing this makes MJI feel upset. Not long after that, Lehan approaches her with good news. He says that the company's sales have increased even more than before. Although MJI thanks him, she still looks unhappy. Later that night, she invites him to dinner. During dinner, she finally explains why she is upset. She asks him to resign from his position at the company. Lehan is shocked by this request. MJI explains that she does not want people to believe that her success exists only because of him. She has worked extremely hard to prove her abilities, especially because her family once doubted that she could manage the company. She says that she cannot allow anyone else to receive credit for her achievements. However, she tells him that she still wants him to remain in her life as her lover rather than as her assistant. Hearing this makes Lehan very angry. After dinner, he drops her at home and leaves. Later, he goes to the train station where his parents and brother are waiting. He learns that Mayfi will travel abroad for further treatment. Before leaving, Mayfi hugs him and gives him a letter, asking him to read it only after he is gone. When Lehan later reads the letter, Mayfi admits that he was jealous during childhood whenever their parents praised Lehan. He confesses that his jealousy caused him to behave badly toward his brother. But now he regrets everything and hopes that when he returns, they can live like good brothers. After reading the letter, Lehan quietly forgives him. Meanwhile, MJI begins missing Lehan deeply. She visits places where they once spent time together and keeps remembering him. Eventually, fate brings them together again. When Lehan sees MJI wearing a bridal dress, he kneels down and proposes to her. Unable to refuse the man she loves, MJI happily accepts his proposal. Later, surrounded by family, friends, and colleagues, they celebrate their wedding. Everyone is smiling and filled with happiness as the couple exchanges rings and begins their new life together.